Great, you're not going to the sea, are you? My sister-in-law smiled like she had just solved her biggest problem. Then she pointed at the 3 children standing behind her with backpacks, beach toys, and tired faces. You'll babysit my kids. My name is Claire Bennett, I'm 32, and I had spent 6 months saving for one quiet weekend by the sea. No work calls. No family drama. No pretending to be polite while people used my kindness like a free service. But there was Vanessa, my husband's sister, standing on my porch in designer sunglasses, holding resort tickets in one hand and her car keys in the other. Behind her, little Mason was crying, Ellie looked embarrassed, and the youngest, Noah, was rubbing sleep from his eyes. I stared at her. Vanessa, I never agreed to this. She laughed. Oh, come on. You don't even have kids. What else are you doing? My husband, Daniel, stood behind me in silence. That silence hurt more than her words. So I smiled. And then I opened the door wider. But not for the reason she thought. Kids, come inside, I said gently. The 3 children hurried past me, relieved to be out of the summer heat. Vanessa smirked, already turning toward her SUV. I knew you'd do the right thing. Oh, I am, I replied. She barely heard me. Within seconds, she was gone. The moment her car disappeared, I looked at Daniel. You knew about this? He shifted uncomfortably. She mentioned it yesterday. Yesterday? She said it would only be 4 days. 4 days. As if my plans, my time, and my life were somehow public property. Unfortunately, this wasn't new. For nearly 7 years, Vanessa had treated me like unpaid staff. Need an airport ride? Call Claire. Need help moving? Call Claire. Need someone to watch the kids while she went shopping, attended parties, or disappeared for entire weekends? Call Claire. And every single time I pushed back, the family acted as though I was selfish. The worst part? Vanessa wasn't struggling. She had money, a nice house, a flexible job. She simply believed other people existed to make her life easier. That evening, while the kids ate pizza in my kitchen, my phone buzzed. A group family message. Vanessa had posted a photo from her luxury resort. The caption made my jaw tighten. Finally enjoying a vacation while family handles the boring responsibilities. And dozens of relatives were already praising her. I stared at the screen in disbelief. The comments kept coming. Enjoy yourself, Vanessa. You deserve a break. So lucky to have family willing to help. Not one person asked whether I had volunteered. Not one person wondered if I had plans of my own. Daniel read over my shoulder and sighed. Just ignore it. I lowered my phone slowly. That's easy for you to say. What does that mean? It means nobody volunteered your weekend. His face hardened. She's my sister, Claire. And I'm your wife. The silence that followed felt heavier than the words themselves. Across the room, the children were laughing while building a blanket fort. None of this was their fault, and I refused to let them feel unwanted. But Vanessa? That was different. The next morning, things got worse. I woke up to 3 missed calls from her. Then a text. By the way, Noah gets nightmares. Mason needs help with his asthma medication. Ellie has dance practice Tuesday. Make sure they all get there on time. No, please. No, thank you. Not even a question. Just instructions. As if I were an employee she had forgotten to pay. Then another message arrived. Also, I might extend the trip a few days if the weather stays nice. I read it twice. Then I smiled, because for the first time, an idea had started forming in my head. And it was far better than an argument. By Tuesday afternoon, my patience had reached its limit. Not because of the children. They were wonderful. Ellie helped clean the kitchen without being asked. Mason thanked me for every meal. Even little Noah started calling me Aunt Claire with a smile that could melt stone. The problem was Vanessa. Every few hours, she sent another message. More instructions. More demands. More photos of expensive dinners, spa treatments, and beach sunsets. Then came the moment that changed everything. That evening, I received a notification from social media. Vanessa was live. Curious, I opened it. Hundreds of people were watching. She stood beside the resort pool holding a cocktail, laughing with friends. Then someone asked who was watching her children. Vanessa rolled her eyes dramatically. Oh, my sister-in-law. Honestly, she has nothing better to do. She practically begged me to let her spend time with the kids. The group around her laughed. My stomach dropped. But she wasn't finished. She couldn't afford a resort like this anyway, so I guess we're both winning. More laughter. More comments. More strangers congratulating her. I sat frozen on my couch while thousands of people watched her humiliate me for entertainment. That was the exact moment something inside me became very calm. And calm Claire was far more dangerous than angry Claire. I didn't respond to Vanessa's live stream. I didn't argue. I didn't post angry comments. Instead, I closed the app and made tea. Because people like Vanessa expected emotional reactions. They thrived on them. What they never prepared for was patience. The next morning, after dropping the kids off at their activities, I started making phone calls. Quiet calls. Careful calls. The kind that revealed far more than they appeared to. First, I called my mother-in-law. Just checking, I said casually. Did Vanessa mention she's extending her vacation? A pause. Extending it? Interesting. She hadn't told her own mother. Next, I called Vanessa's ex-husband, Ryan, the father of the children. He sounded surprised when I explained that Vanessa had left the kids with me for what could become more than a week. She told me they were staying at the resort with her. I nearly laughed. Another lie. By Friday, a pattern was emerging. Vanessa wasn't just taking advantage of me. She was telling completely different stories to different people. And I had proof. Screenshots. Messages. Voicemails. Public live stream recordings. I organized everything into a neat digital folder. Then I learned something unexpected. Vanessa wasn't actually at the resort with friends. She was there with someone she definitely shouldn't have been with. And that discovery changed my entire plan. The moment I confirmed what I had discovered, I stopped seeing this as a family annoyance. It had become something much bigger. Vanessa wasn't vacationing with girlfriends. She was vacationing with her married boss. A man whose wife believed he was attending a professional conference 3 states away. Suddenly, all the lies made sense. The secret trip. The fake stories. The desperate need to dump her children on someone else without questions. But I still wasn't interested in public drama. I wanted truth. So I spent the weekend gathering facts. Nothing illegal. Nothing reckless. Only evidence. By Monday morning, I had a complete timeline. Photos from the resort. Public posts. Messages contradicting each other. Even screenshots showing Vanessa claiming her children were with her while she posed beside the pool. Then I sent a single email. Not to social media. Not to the family group chat. To every adult directly involved. Vanessa. Ryan. My mother-in-law. Her boss. And most importantly, her boss's wife. Attached was a folder labeled. Since everyone has been given a different story. No accusations. No insults. Just dates, screenshots, photos, and facts. 23 minutes later, my phone exploded with incoming calls. I ignored every single one. Because for the first time, Vanessa was the one trying desperately to explain herself. And things were only beginning to unravel. My phone rang nonstop for the next 2 days. Vanessa called 17 times. Ryan called 4. My mother-in-law left 3 voicemails demanding that I stop causing problems. I listened to that last one twice and laughed. I hadn't caused anything. I had simply removed the cover from what was already there. By Wednesday evening, the fallout was impossible to hide. Ryan arrived at my house to pick up the children. For a long moment, he stood silently on my porch. Then he said, "Thank you." Not for exposing Vanessa. For taking care of his kids while she lied to everyone. That meant more to me than he probably realized. Meanwhile, family members who had praised Vanessa online were suddenly deleting comments and pretending they had never taken her side. Then came the biggest shock. Her boss's wife had confronted him with the evidence. The confrontation turned ugly. Very ugly. By the end of the week, rumors were spreading through his company. Vanessa's glamorous vacation had transformed into a public disaster. Late Friday night, she finally appeared at my front door. Gone were the sunglasses, the confidence, and the smug smile. She looked exhausted, broken even. And when I opened the door, she said 6 words I never expected to hear. Claire, please tell me how. I looked at Vanessa for a long moment. For years, I had imagined confronting her, telling her exactly how selfish she was, listing every favor she had demanded, every boundary she had ignored, every time she treated me like I existed for her convenience. But standing there, I realized I didn't need any of that. Tell you how what? Asked calmly. How you destroyed everything. I shook my head. No, Vanessa. You destroyed it yourself. The words hit harder than any insult. She stared at the floor. For the first time since I had known her, she had no excuse ready. No one else to blame. No audience to perform for. Just consequences. A few months later, Ryan received primary custody of the children. The kids were thriving, happier, and more stable than before. As for Vanessa, she spent a long time rebuilding relationships she had shattered. Some were never repaired. The final twist came during a family gathering nearly a year later. My mother-in-law quietly pulled me aside. I owe you an apology, she said. Then she handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter Vanessa had written. The last line made me smile. The worst mistake I ever made was believing Claire would never say no. And that was exactly the lesson she finally learned.